I lost my dad in 2018. He was always on the run, constantly searching and moving. I was never able to pin him down. A few years after he passed, I drove to New Mexico and accidentally found this place. There was something about it. The remoteness. The echo. The men who lived here. I found myself compelled to stay. And I needed to find out why.
There is a creative vibe here. I won't call it a spirit because I don't know for sure, but there's something about the area that invites people with imagination. In the frontier days, you would have had to have an imagination, sort of, and a will to be here. It's been said you can manifest anything in Silver City, but you cannot expect any help doing it. Well, there's a certain sense of security in closing your eyes. You know, everything can go away. If you close your eyes, it's gone. You can have a respite from whatever it is. And then you open your eyes and maybe you're a little more refreshed than before, that you can handle what's being directed your way.
I get to sort of see things that I normally don't when they're open, but other than that, I do enjoy it sometimes. Or just close my eyes and just go for a cruise, go to a casino, go do something.
And you're awake, but you keep your eyes closed for maybe a half hour. Then you open your eyes, there's a interesting feeling that suddenly there's the world again, that you've kind of closed off visually. I don't know that it's satisfying, but it's interesting to me.
No, I don't close my eyes much, but it doesn't bother me. If I open my eyes, I got another day of life, the way I look at it, unless I feel real bad. And then I think, darn it, because I'm definitely not worried about crossing over, you know. Death does not bother me at all.
I was raised on the farms in Hatch, basically, and that's all we grew was chili. And that's how I met my wife, matter of fact, believe it or not. Because we used to bring a load and then hit the residence and sell our chili. And then her house where she lived was like up on the hill. And I would come by and you know, and then her mother sent her down and said, go get me some green chili. She sent her down. And I looked at her and I said, wow. But that's how I met her, through selling green chili.
I used to be a real good dancer. Yeah, we used to have dance contests here in Silver, but we could dance any dance, polkas, and square dancing, and cowboy dancing. Of course, rock and roll, that ain't dancing. You just get out there and wiggle around, you know. But yeah, I used to like to dance, but I can't dance anymore. My knees are too bad. I guess the arms could dance, but then I don't know how to dance without the rest of me dancing too, so.
Rusilia, Rusi, I used to call her. She told me, do you know why I married you? And I said, why? And it happened, it was a situation, I don't know what happened. She turned around and slapped the crap out of me. She just knocked me hard. And when I didn't jump on her or do anything else, I just took it. She said, that's what I decided, I was gonna marry you. For a slap. So, that was that.
I would like to be a condor or a vulture or an eagle and be able to fly with the wind the way they do. I've always dreamed of that, basically imagining that feeling. So if I could be a big bird flying through the sky, that to me would be sort of heaven.
Ravens are really smart. They're fearless for the most part. And they instill fear just by being themselves.
Probably my Tota mountain lion. That's my Indian Tota. For except 3 months of the year, I'm a turtle.
I probably was too serious as a child, but I was left on my own with this seriousness. There was nobody I could go to explain how I felt. Nobody was interested in it, for one thing, and culturally it was not done. You know, your folks were at the top of the hierarchy, and you just went along for the ride. I was not what my folks wanted me to be, and I understood that quite plainly. They wanted desperately for me to be the educated one, and that would have been a success. It would prove that they were, as parents, a success if I managed to get a degree in something. And it would put the family persona at a higher level. But that just did not happen.
I grew up around mountains, climbing mountains, riding horses in mountains. Mountains to me are essentially sacred. There's something about them that just transcends normal human life.
I prefer the mountains over the ocean. The ocean is intimidating. Not that the mountains can't be, but it's, I don't know, there's no solidity to it. Constant motion.
I love the mountains, been a mountain man all my life. Used to run away from home when I was a kid. My dad was a very mean alcoholic. And so I'd run away and come up to these mountains and hide. I know how to hide real well. I don't like people with bad energy, and I'm real good at picking energy up. And that's why I don't like crowds. I don't like concerts and stuff. I won't go to them because there's just so much energy, it overwhelms me. Funerals are real hard for me to go to. Not that but I get really emotional at funerals because of what I pick up from everybody else. It's not my emotions, it's their emotions that I pick up. So then I get all, teary-eyed and everything else,
I can't say where these feelings come from. He's gone now and left, good times begun. Yet when I look back into those old years, I see happiness, we had fun in many a way. I'd be up before before dawn taught me to sleep. Sure, there's a handful of regrets with people, family, friends that I wish hadn't happened. My youngest brother and I didn't talk for about 20 years, and he was another guitar-playing, singing brother of mine. We spent hours and hours and hours playing and singing, hiking mountains together. He met a woman in a little bar on the plaza in Santa Fe. She was very nice, very friendly, but I got the sense early on that she didn't like me or didn't like my closeness with him. So there was a tension between her and I. Yeah, he took it very, very seriously, and he basically ended our relationship at that point by walking away and saying, "You're not a brother of mine." Now we've pretty much made up and patched it up, but it was a big event that split us up totally for 20 years.
My mother never held us except to carry us from one place to the next. She wasn't trying to be mean, but she just didn't have it in her. So I kept my kids on me most of the time, if possible. You know, there was never any separation like I had when I was a child. I was the only, and still am, the only man I know that raised infants to adulthood. And if you have children, that's the most important thing you'll ever do. It's making sure as close as you can that they understand the world and then they're not intimidated by it.
I haven't been good to myself. You know, the heroin and the cocaine, I was on that. I was pretty bad on it overseas because in Vietnam I thought I was going to die anyway, so what did it matter? But I had a girlfriend over there, and her name was Junie, and she was a beautiful soul. She was part French and part Vietnamese. We were going to get married, but the VC found me and just cut me to pieces with straight razors and everything else. I mean, they cut my face and my arms, my guts, everything. And they found her and they killed her. But like I said, she was just one of the most beautiful human beings you'd ever know. In fact, I'm getting a little emotional thinking about her because I still miss the hell out of her, you know, and that was years ago, you know, but, yeah. But, you know, try to put it all behind you and not hold no hate. And that's probably the most important thing is hate. Hate will kill you. So I try my best not to hate nobody.
You know, because it got very hard when my wife passed. We were together 55 years, and the daughters knew that she didn't want life support, okay? So whose decision was it? It's not one that I liked at all. I wish that it was up to me to do it, but I had to do it. The way I felt like I ended her life, which I did. You know, it was very hard to do. The biggest, ugliest part of it was when I realized no more of her. I got up in the morning, like 2 days after she had passed, and I went and made my coffee, and I always brought her. Come in here. She wasn't there no more. That's where the worst. I lost her already. But I didn't realize that until I brought the coffee. You want to lose, and you lose big when that happens. And all of a sudden, you're by yourself.
When we're younger, a good part of our life, I think, is full of dreams, right? Now, to me, it would be more like wishing. Sounds corny, but I dream about world peace. Is that a dream? It's sure, talk about a long shot dream. Yeah, I don't dream about it thinking it's going to happen, but I guess I imagine it.
I did not consciously make myself the man I am. It just, the personalities and the experiences just happened to come together. So I've been, yeah, it's been a pretty easy ride for the most part.
There's nothing else you can ask me. Ask me whatever you want, lady. I don't care.
I can see how doing this would be fun, though, running around talking to different people and everything. What made you choose Silver City?
Just happened.
Just happened? That makes as much sense as anything else.
It just happened. In the split of a second, we connected. I needed them to tell me stories without any distractions. It was not a specific question or answer, just the fact that they sat in front of me and that they stayed. Strangely, this small town, these men, and the majestic mountains gave me the missing pieces my father never